Because of harsh weather conditions and poor underground soils, the freezing and thawing cycles that are prevalent in northern communities cause the streets to eventually crack, heave, and settle in places. This is a common complaint that the Street Maintenance and Parks Division have to deal with on a regular basis. The cost that goes into a complete rehabilitation of a street, with the old pavement being removed along with the curb and gutter, the excavation of the road prism, then backfilling with classified material, compaction of the material, the pouring of new curbs and gutters, the adjusting of utility structures on the surface, the paving, and finally the landscaping all add up to a very expensive finished product. Therefore, it becomes imperative that streets be maintained to the extent that they do not need reconstruction. The Street Maintenance and Parks Division have implemented a program to help increase the life expectancy of paved streets. It is called the Chipseal Program. The sealant places a barrier over the paved street so that moisture cannot penetrate through the cracks and saturate the sub-base. If this moisture is left unattended, with the help of freezing and thawing cycles, the street then begins to deteriorate. The Chipseal program involves several essential steps that must be taken prior to the application, or the finished product will not be very appealing. Longitudinal cracks need cleaned and sealed with rubberized asphalt. The low and highest spots need leveled with asphalt to give a better structured surface. And short sections of curb may need to be removed and replaced on grade for drainage purposes. This action, depending on the severity of the street, takes very little time and expense compared to a complete reconstruction. Now the street is ready for its cover. Chip seal is an application of fractured size rock, most often called chips, embedded in an asphalt emulsion. This emulsion is applied through a distributor. A chip spreader then distributes the fractured rock evenly into the emulsion. This is done in a minimum of 2 lifts, a larger fractured rock being used on the first course and a smaller sized rock on the second course to give smoother driving surface. More chips will be applied than needed for the finished product to give a cushion for the traffic to travel on during the curing process. A rubber-tired roller helps solidify the embedded fractured rock by kneading the rock so that it fits like a puzzle with very few exposed gaps. A large drum roller then makes the final passes to give the product a uniform appearance. The street will be left in this condition for a few days to allow for the emulsion to harden around the fractured rocks so they do not extract themselves. Because of loose chips lying on the surface, the public needs to drive at a moderate speed so as not to damage the windshields of other vehicles. After the appropriate amount of time for the emulsion to cure, street sweepers will then be dispatched to sweep up most of the excess chips as a final step. Here's a street before the Chipseal program was applied. Notice the large cracks and uneven driving surface. But after the necessary steps were taken to seal the cracks and level up the surface, then the seal coat was applied. The street's appearance is a whole lot better, not to mention the fact that longevity has been added to the life expectancy of the street. This finished surface will be abrasive compared to asphalt, but after a couple of winters of snow removal with plows scraping the surface and continual traffic wear, the surface will become smoother. This has been a very effective and cost-saving program used by street maintenance through the years to help in prolonging the longevity of many streets in the Anchorage area. With cutbacks in funds from the state of Alaska being implemented and the never-ending battle to keep taxes at a minimal, the Street Maintenance and Parks Division are striving to make each dollar stretch as far as it can go. With programs like the Chipseal program, this is helping to accomplish this task.